Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I just want to say a welcome to the dear Venerable Sangha and ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the FPMT, also known as the Foundation for the Preservation of the Mahayana Tradition in the Bay Area, it's with tremendous honor to host this historic event where we will receive teachings and blessings from the illustrious His Eminence, the 7th Ling Rinpoche, on finding happiness and well-being, a search that we are all familiar with. I'm extremely pleased to introduce His Eminence, the 7th Ling Rinpoche, a revered teacher who holds a prominent and exalted lineage in Tibetan Buddhism, and one who is recognized by His Holiness the Dalai Lama as the incarnation of his senior tutor, the 6th Kyabje Yongzin Ling Rinpoche. The predecessor, the 6th Yongzin Ling Rinpoche, was one of the great giants of Tibetan Buddhism in the 20th century and served as the head of the Tibetan Buddhism Gelug's order for 20 years. The recent book, The Life of My Teacher, by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, documents his life story. The 7th Ling Rinpoche began a rigorous course of monastic study at the age of 10 under the guidance of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. At the request of His Eminence Ling Rinpoche, the Dalai Lama gave a set of landmark teachings over 4 years from 2012 to 2015 on the stages of the path, the Lam Rim. Since 2004, His Eminence has also participated in the Mind and Life Institute dialogues held in India between His Holiness the Dalai Lama and scientists regarding the convergence of Buddhism and science. Earlier this year, His Eminence finalized his 20-year program of monastic training. It's our immense privilege and joy to have His Eminence here as part of his first teaching tour on the west coast of North America to plant the seeds of true Dharma in our hearts. We are so fortunate. It's a rare opportunity to encounter such a master offering discernment to help us find lasting happiness and well-being. Finally, we offer a heartfelt thanks to all who made this visit possible. His Eminence's Secretary, Venerable Tenzin Khyentse, the Ling Labrang, Sangha, benefactors, and numerous hardworking volunteers. Thank you so much. We share a very heartfelt, warm welcome to His Eminence the 7th Ling Rinpoche, who will be with us shortly. Thank you.
한기 두제니 손에 다와 탐지에 방배치 탐배치네 된제베 고담데라 차체 로스 다더니데 만주 인데 좀체 인칸스 되게 참을로다 제니 아니 비게 가슈레 님도 좀도체 총어디 시작하고 총스 제한테 인도 그냥 참을로야 좀 뜻들이 쉐인스
I'm very happy that we've been able to meet together here today, and so I would like to extend my greetings to you all, and I would like to say Tashdile to everyone.
Tashdile, yeah. 아니 다 가슈레 다 드린데 한주 참고 좀 아니 지피게 향수 되게 참으로 딱 가병한 데이페 아니 예 지피게 지 게지르셰 세상 내르지기 고급 중세 아니 지금 한주 되게 참으로 딱 시디 파베 아니 지피게 가서 오래 참으로 딱지 로데부지 다 지피게 끼우징 안에다 도시 루루첸 루루첸다 구유지
So we have been able to meet here. You've all come along happily to attend this event. I was also able to come, so I'm very happy that we're all able to come here together and to be here at peace and with a relaxed mind.
Relaxed environment.
Like a relaxed environment.
Yeah. 시디 파베 직피게 시라게다 구유 가서 그래 약부지간이야 또 요레스 따이네스와 만주파 가서 그래 하고도 거구심부 그러봐 안 참말로 셈 파페고 아니 직 클래스에 찾은 저거대 자댕을 그렇지 직 약부지간 요레스 요레텔레 다 텔레 강버드네 만 실로 된제 그러봐 안다 다른 분이 셰빈다 시리아스로 다가난 신기직 그게 이라크스로 아프가니스탄스로 산에 든주나래 안직 그게 축제 시비차대요 그랬어 축제 대야 지피게 아니지 샘기 강에 여버전도 마세베 아니 류기 동에 안디 캠페 차고 거자 아니지 그게 니주 탑교 원구시비지 용되게 요랬어.
So where we are, where we've been able to meet here, is a very relaxed environment. It's very peaceful. We're all at ease. Our minds are all able to be here at ease and relaxed. We've all just eaten, so we're all very comfortable from our meal. But if we look outside of here, especially if we look at some distant places such as Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, there is so much unrest, so much turmoil in those places. The people in those places, in those situations, in their minds, they have so many problems, so many mental problems, physical problems, and the conditions in which they are living in general is very poor, very wretched.
재산 아니 다가는 신기 기급 다가는 아메리카 다가는 차춘비네 지피게 다지 먹주다 지피게 된제기 생장한다 지피게 되다 요말들에 이네 지피게 미망구지리야 셈기 동에 첨부 셈기 동에 기gembe 아니 류 나자치요야 아니 어다 된제기 지피게 강에 답이게 지피게 미 리담한데 요래 지피게 축부 다는 신 지피양 발라샤 다는 신양 교보 지피게 미 아니지 나조지 요래들에 아니 상물로리아 아니 강엠다 지중로 박배 상물로리아 강에지 요래스.
Now in the States, although there's no war and so forth within the United States itself, but still there are many problems in the mind of the people, and because of those problems and that suffering in their minds, then this brings about the physical illnesses. And so even though there are many different types of people, there are wealthy, not so wealthy, and so forth, still we all have our problems.
제자 소소소로 빠베다 그봐 아니 강에 먹고 싶지 도스차디가 요레스 제자 디인도 전에 다 강에 직피게 먹고 싶고 여대야디 아니 직피게 최저 어떤 제시 잡이나 량왕그레 직피게 직 소소 다직 가서다 레고 왕그레스 당 아주 제시 직야지다 요르텔레 이네 뭐이 니즈고 토네 파데시 잡이네 만주 제주도 마스네 제비나 직 제투에 여버지 당 제고야지 니즈 차디게 요레스 차두도스.
And so relative, we have all of our sort of like individual problems in our lives relative to ourselves, and if we were to explain it according to the Dharma, then we would say this is all happening because of karma. but in fact, there are, if we look, we can see there are things that we can do, and that we need to do.
간대지기 토네레스는 내주 멍구지디 말한주 직 쇠생 촉시 아니 직 비게 가속으로다 직 동암 다 딘제 멍구지기 토네 다 강에도 상모 쳐야지 안외니주기 토네 라트투고 요레스.
What I mean is we can understand many of the problems in our lives as being derived from really not having the ability to be patient, tolerant, to be satisfied with what we have, and we have the problem of greed, problems created by greed.
그래서 니주 딘제지기 겜베 아니 직 ngaranjuta 강에 멍구치 태돼야지. 그러봐 직 그게 가서 그래. 초마시베 겜베 아니 직 그게 따직 제시 멍구치 거. 아니 직 그게 디부 직 그게 첨부질 당직 그게 가르 유여버들이야 소수 직 그게 사야 권야 통야 당하는 직 그게 강바 가르 소수 유여버들이야 유여때버들이야 초마시베체 텔레 마와 텔레 갸쳐와 텔레 지거 딘제직 동암 체 딘제직이 겜베 아니 직비게 미유첨부송 디 겜베 아니 디톨이야 탑론 베준체 다 탑론 텔리야 베준체베 qab리야 아니 직비게 가서 그래 아니 다 장부 탕샤지다 비경운에 삼바남다 직 침비나 아니 좀허도에 내당시 레베 qab리야 아니 직 객진시사 객진시 안 당하는 시 한바시에서 한바시 아니 지피게 다 돈이나 아니 삼레 지 소수 지피게 고베 되든디 주야 된다리야 아니 밀리아 아니 차와체야기 아니 내당 되지간이야 다 차디기 어렸어 다니에 탄다디 차와시디 무엇을 지미 세야다 지피게 된데기 니주 다 용거와 디모임베 지피게 다 가서 그래 소수 야구 요한 탄달라 미션베 아니 지피게 지 소수리아 젠바텐데 유나 둔주파 다 소수리아 젠마도 써야다 그봐 다는 신 직소수리 내제 토와다 수주 레셰제 체인제 여버 있는 둔주파 소수는 뒤람딩가 두고 있는 둔주파 내가 체야다 딘데기다 제시 멍부 제네 간다 된다 도도 돈에 셰베이나 아니 세벨레가 아니 다 그래서 그래 람 세벨레 그래서 그래다 레갈이야 아니 그 숙제 어떻게 이제 용거리스.
So this being the case, we have so many problems. So those having those kind of attitudes, the lack of ability to be patient and so forth. So because of that, then we have so many problems. Like for example, we don't have the mind of contentment, the attitude of contentment, and so because of that, we make so many plans, whether it's in terms of food, clothing, housing, not being contented with what we have. We want more, we want better, we want more, something more splendid. So we have that kind of greed in the mind. And then we make plans to get the better and the more and so on that we want. And we we do a lot of work in order to be able to get that. And if we're not able to achieve what we want, or not being able to achieve what we want through kindness and a good heart and so forth, then we resort to lying to people, tricking other people, and even going so far as to be violent towards others in order to get what we want. Sometimes that might mean even killing others, but even if we don't go as far as to kill, then like for example, preventing others from developing, preventing others from advancing and learning and so forth. This is a way in which we will sometimes harm people in order to achieve our own goals.
제산티 인도다 동암 기겜베 아니 직피게 다 가서 그래. 봐. 자와됐다 동암으로 봐. 내가 친구 유튜브산 디 캠베다 아니 직피게 소제와 안 다는 신직 다 마지벌렘바. 봐. 아니 직피게 디 캠베더니 직피게 준셰야. 봐. 아니 직피게 어디 딘제기다 자와 직피게 미롱아 몽부질이야 슈체. 봐. 아니 동암다 다는 신 초마셰와. 봐. 어디 딘제기 캠베다 직피게 미절람 다 직피게 가서 그래 미직수도 마순에 여대부터 파시기체니 아니 직피게 오늘 전에다 탑교부 시비진데게 레굴리아 슈제 대용거리스.
And so the main problem then is the greed, having so much desire for something better and so forth, something bigger and better, more. Then, because of that, we kill, we steal, we lie to others. So, all because of having this greed and lack of contentment in the mind, we'll, whatever rules and laws there are, then we break those and bring about so many difficulties in our lives.
디 캠베 아니 직비게다 가서 그래 처음 마셔봐. 달봐. 안 다나 싱이 직비게 가서 그래 가지고 란진 가지고다 동암당 초 마시베 캠베 아니 직비게 가서 그래다 삼로 당당 부수도 없고. 달봐. 삼단다 부수도 없고 소소랑 야게 적어야지다. 소소랑 직비게 다 강엘레 타나 디버점 삼kho에 디 캠베 아니 직비게 셴스다 란스르즈네 연점 첨부시비제지 아니 직 셴스르즈네 비게 타직도 비게 소소도 데워메딩 소리지 아니 직비게 가소래 셴이야 직비게 나와 차와 다가는 신지 니주 칸데 총비이네 디 직비게 소소리아 데와다 델리아 직 초와도 메딩이지 소소 시리즈네 안다 야가다 기봤다 아니 직 마와다 가리니 고딩에 딘데기 직 비삼로 고독고지당 삼로 부수도 싶지 차체니 용디기 어레스.
We have that lack of contentment in our minds, discontent in the mind, and the greed, and because of those, then our mind becomes very narrow. We have a very narrow way of thinking only of ourselves, feeling that if everything goes well for oneself, that's enough. We make this big distinction between oneself and others seem completely unrelated to ourselves. So if others are ill, if others are in pain, we don't really get much, that doesn't really mean much to us. We don't really feel much about that. For oneself, we feel like it's important to get things which are good, to get something good, to get something really nice. And so just everything focused just upon oneself. And in this way, the mind is sort of like turned in on itself, like very narrow way of thinking.
제가 디레 인도자네다 딘데기 삼로 고도보지 gembe 아니 직비게 추주용이야 아니 직비게 직 미션벌람 하잠바 차야 아니 직비게 야리게야 딘데기다 가슈그래 니주 탑교 보면 오시 차되기도 왔어.
And then having that kind of narrow way of thinking, just thinking about oneself, then so many really unpleasant things happen. We fight with others, we argue with others, we're not friendly with others, all because of that kind of like narrow way of thinking, just thinking about oneself.
제가 디인도자는 알란주 소소리야 제부지다 거부지다 요레스 요르데 예베 겜베 직비게 알란주 직 야가다 직비게 심바다 기버든 되는 누구 요르들레 디 규디 안 dum하심체 다는 신이 민두베기 직비게 가서 오래 갱에 차고 아니 직비게 오늘 지내 나자 누구 요 말들레 디 아니 규디파 고마심체니 딘데기 직비게 랑도 니주디 야우마신 비gembe 아니 다 강한 상황 채대야지 니주 딘데지 토네 용되기 요레스 용되기 성부도스
naturally, we want happiness. We do want to be happy, and that's quite natural. There's nothing wrong with that. But though we want happiness, we don't really know what it is that we should do to find happiness. We don't like suffering, and we don't. At the same time, we don't really know what we should do. We don't know the proper way to stop that suffering, the suffering of illness and discomfort and so forth. In other words, we don't know what it is that we need to do and what it is that we shouldn't do in order to get the happiness we want and to avoid the suffering that we don't like. So this is, I think this is why we have so many problems in our lives.
제가 근데 인도산에 딱 안주 삼루당당 구양 저거야. 삼루당당 야치를 딴 거야. 그봐? 다른 신게 삼루당당 오늘 지피게 가서 우리 구양고지기 돈에 딴 거야지. 다 쉬우지 개심 붙여서 성도스.
And for this reason, I feel that it's extremely important to open up our minds, to make our minds much more wide-reaching and much more expansive.
다른 신게 지피게 삼루당당 구양고스도 전에 소수 찍부에 된다 삼당하다. 그봐? 소수 찍피게 소수 기부연다. 소수 찍피게 디기유나 다가랑 심제대 대잠마 대비치 신용기 내당다 구유다. 찍피게 딘제기 찍피게 야침부진 쪼가야 되다. 쉬우지 개심 저기 어렸어.
And so when I talk about having a mind which is much more open and expansive, what I mean is not just thinking about oneself, just one's own happiness and comfort, being satisfied if if we have everything that we personally want. What I'm talking about rather is to be more concerned with the well-being of the world in general and the situation, the environment in general.
삼루당다 구양고지다 삼루당다 야심부지 다 직피게 소수지고진 삼당야 마인버식시게 생기 디두다 생기 직피게 가서 그래 강에세야리야 심구 란통이기 미지나 레드인에 가리네 줍투야 강에인에 세투야 직피게 가서 그래 레가지 잠비네 고 직피게 된다 야심부 줍투야 딘데이네 주지 다 가서 그래 가란주 피게 우리 니주고 돈에 라트투야지다 냠융 돈에 셰투야 있는다 제가도 저기 어렸어.
And I think that if our attitude is like that, is more open and more expansive, not just thinking about oneself, thinking about others, being concerned about the happiness of others, concerned about leading others out of their problems and their difficulties. A person with that kind of attitude somehow is able to achieve what they set out to achieve. When it comes to stopping problems, they're able to stop the problems. When they work, when they have, they set themselves goals to achieve, then they're able to achieve those goals, and on a really far-reaching scale also.
제가 띠인도잖아요. 다 삼루단다 야침부터 삼루단다 직피게 나란주 삼루단다한테 북다 통동당 되다 직피게 통동 시부지기다네 돈에 땅뒤잖아요. 아니 고도고 차야다. 한 삼부수도 그냥인데 뒤에 제가 띠인도 북양 정부지다 삼루 고양부 땅 거에 되게 개침부랬어. 다디 간데스기 돈에 영국어에서는 아니 직피게 알리 내주 차고 땅 직피게 가서 강에다 용대야 망부티 마란주 삼무당당한테 코피기 파종어네 용대야지당 직비기 파를 직비게 제당 만지부당 직비게 딘데지기 돈에다 용구 여부증 한수 삼구 열 때래 ngoy nizu tol tebi na kange yoy manguchiti sosurang cheda mandini yungu yoris sosurang samtanda mandi samtanda mandi bi kembe ani lega cheda mandi di kembe ani ta kasore di dibusine medu di lakjeliya ani kange to sosu chedeyachi di ta yungu yoris.
When we have that kind of expansive, extensive way of thinking about things, that kind of expansive attitude in the mind, then things go much better. When we're thinking just like short term, just oneself, the mind becomes very like narrow, and this creates problems for us. When the way that we think is more expansive, then so many of these problems in our lives are eliminated. So we do have the tendency to think that when something goes wrong, it's somebody else's fault. We think it's something outside where we are to find the source of our problem. That's how we think. But in actual fact, if you look into it, then you discover that so many of your problems simply come from your own mistaken way of thinking. So, based on that kind of that mistaken way of thinking, then when we try to achieve our goals, then we're mistaken in the way that we go about it, and then the results, the outcome of our work is also nothing but problems, just brings problems in our lives.
Social 직비게 동암 체타바다 소소 콩도 체타베kimbe 담망의 연구를 소소비게 직 가시고래 율 가서 착과 체타바다 소소비게 직 딘데 가시고다 디겜베 아니 직비게 다 가시고래 소소양 배 체시도 무슨 툰 내가 제가 넣어대봐 제가 딘데 인도잖아요 직 소수 삼로 당당의 지당 먼지비 겜베 내주든지 강가 용되기 여름마도 소수 삼단다 초시베지당 소수 삼단다 아니 비게 가서 오르다 직비게 딱다지 중의나 파조 원의 여야디 코피기 야제도 마선에 실하게 총을 열었어. 제가 디인도 말한저디 삼단다지 먼지비체니 삼단다 먼지비 중친 디 겜베다 타직도 파조스친 야라도 마선에 파종을 때야기 내주시 용되기 열. 제가 디 안주 눈주 전부지 디네 쇼고 열었어.
And so, when our minds are filled with greed and anger, then this creates enemies. When our mind is filled with attachment, then we make mistakes in our plans for how to achieve our goals, and everything goes wrong. So it all comes down to a mistaken way of thinking, our own mistaken way of thinking. Whereas when you have contentment,
아니. 근데스. 제가 초마시비 겜베, 봐. 디 겜베 안다 강에 강가 체디기 요레스. 제가 디 인도산에 가서 말한주 야라죠, 봐. 블레임 줘, 봐. 블레임 디 미셴발 파종어데 지기 요르텔레 눈중 오마디 소수응의 연구 유도자네 블레임드 소수 랑고야디 계신 부시 차기 요레스.
The thing is that because of a lack of contentment in our minds, we experience so many problems. So actually we tend to think that all of our problems come from others, but actually where it comes from, the blame, where the blame lies for our problems, is in our own attitudes.
먼저 블레임디 셴발 치고 봐. 미 셴발 딥 제단데 다 소소 타지든 딕데버 삼 고고요 봐. 디 제단데 자원인 딕요 말이스. 블레임드 소소 렌투브 중이나 아니 가서 소소 제단 먼지부터 셴베 토네. 소소 제단 먼지부터 셴베 토네. 소소 블레임드 소소 톨 제토나 아니 된데 펜도 첨부 요레스.
We have a tendency to blame others. We tend to think that what we're doing is okay, The problems are coming from others. So if we're able to take responsibility, if we're able to take the blame, then this will solve so many of our difficulties.
세상 인도잖아요. 다 딘데기 인도잖아요. 말한주 삼바스티 말한주 삼무 당당티 아니 비게 시우지 시류기 유를 영진으로와 유를 초 하과도 직비게 수 제보 아니 단연보 아니 티 신부 아니 러신부 아니 직비게 다 어떤 딘데기 되베 연대는야 파 영진 셈 8월 7일이야 초차 디 gembe semne yang chim bu che di gembe jikpige soso nunju 가르치기 nunju 이 뭐 어트마 도 버지 당 jikpige 레벌 원지 모두 버지 당 아니 그래서 우리 노버때 노버 뭐 원지 모두 버지 차기 어렸을 때 가리톤에 연구 어렸으나 아주 셈디 하장기 초차왔다 셈 하장기 jikpige 향연이야 저 체차베 gembe 연구 어렸어.
So it's so much to do then with our way of thinking. So for example, our minds become distracted towards the desired objects we want, we're attracted to, and our desires go out towards the beautiful looking visual forms, to pleasant sounds, to delicious tastes, nice smells, and so forth. So being drawn towards those, then we're distracted towards those, and then this prevents us from being able to really see what's good is actually good, to identify what's really good, to see a mistake as a mistake, something that's not good as not being good, all because of our mind being completely distracted with desire towards those desire objects.
Then 미지시나 레가스제비나 알리 포 라자 칸데 용도 다는 신기 라자 야고 사제디 기블루도 사제들이 강과 야고지라 유아도 다는 시 강과 야고지라비네 따데 라자 야고지 라 두주 칸데도 그러봐 아니 직피가 왔다 딘데 직피게 간다직 왔다 주류기 되베 연den기 다디 코란이 야봐 당안주 다 용대버린 거에 니주토네 용대기도 왔어. 대단 디 인도산에 말한주 셈디 영원히 채타네. 디 gembe다 용거레스.
And so, for example, when if we think about our work, then when we're looking for work, we want to know what kind of salary is involved, whether it's well paid or not, what kind of environment we'll be living in if we take up such a job, what kind of housing we're going to get, and so our mind gets completely caught up in that and distracted by that kind of thing.
제단디 인도산에 알안주다 셈디 직피게 ten시기 셈바지 그봐 직피게 중앙이나 아니 당기 쉬는 신기다 직피게 가서 오래 눈줄이야 눈줄 제백을 눈줄 지기도 지금인도 다는 신기 직피게 가서 오래다 삼로 당당이 gembe 내가 치당 gembe 아니 좀제 두자 둔수 다 태가 근데 용구도 용민도 따야지 가리톤의 용도그래서는 셈디 전식 신투버 총이나 디톤에 된데 다 펜도 친구 용구 용도베 요리스 말한주 셈디 전식 심매베체 셈 하장의 치료 유로 초차베 gembe 아니 다 랭이기 제베 아니 삼루디 랩투고요 말했어.
What we need is to make use of the mental, inner mental qualities of mindfulness and vigilance. So with those, then we will be able to check well whether we have made a mistake or not, whether we're doing things well or not, whether our way of thinking, our attitude is effective or not, a good one or not. Then whether the work that we end up doing because of having that kind of attitude, whether that's good or not, what kind of result, what kind of outcome our efforts are going to lead to. This is something that we'll be able to do when we work with mindfulness and vigilance or alertness. So when we don't have that kind of practice as part of our lives, the mindfulness and vigilance, then we tend more to be completely caught up in and distracted by the desire objects, as I mentioned before, like pleasant visual forms and so forth.
Ali dobja chimbi ine ro dobja maaji phabi ine ri ya sabe ine ri ko khombare ri pe chini ya chimbe kabli ya kasure semdi yagoji pha madebi ina ani majda shoya ri ma riya ri dana singi pige kasure da dabya ri ani dunyena ma saya de 강에 먹지 채야기 다 열어봤어. 지난 니주 딘데 기타 직춘주 스네민도 간다 dobja 자야 소리지 배준 차샤비 이된 안주 다 셈대구도 전에 아니 진용기 안주 미 직가소래 군주 상부지당 미 아니 지피게 삼로 아니 지피게 직가소다 딱다지 다 야고지 땅토에서 애들 정시 생고다 가장 개침부 책이었디 따라 추도 열성도스.
We certainly need these qualities of mindfulness and vigilance, even in very small things, like just walking somewhere. We need to be attentive. We need to be mindful of what we're doing. If we're not, then we might end up tripping up and even falling over, hurting ourselves. So even in very small things like that, we need mindfulness and vigilance. So certainly we need them, for more important things. No.
Stairs.
No, going upstairs, you have to be careful. Yeah, so not just going somewhere, but going upstairs. You have to be you have to be mindful. You have to be vigilant. Otherwise, you risk tripping up and even falling over. So this is why it's so important to make use of mindfulness and vigilance.
다는 신기 안주 삼단단디 아니 셔럽고 초단지 봐봐. 지그게 가리 유여버지당 가리 지그게 체대버들이야 아니 지 가소래 소수비게 침지마 대버체 지 삼단단디 고 무유 니주 다는 신기 지그게 지 gyumzen tembatang dana singji pige lugyu nang yore seji tang dana singji pige ani khasor pame ne che dinde chi yore seni nizu dinde jili ya shilma shabache anju samdandan ti ani jingui nizu da tumba dana singji pige rigbe neba meba ani ji khasor khasur pige shiragu choda chebaji tone rotubeina ani 가리니 야게 줘도 해야 될 덴데펜도 전부 용도버데라 주고도스.
Likewise, we also need wisdom in whatever we do. We shouldn't simply be satisfied thinking, this is how my parents did and so forth, but rather to look into the reasons and to look into like past accounts, like historic accounts of how things have been done. So if we're able to check in that way, then this will also help us greatly in being able to improve.
대산디 인도산에 안주 림버르 체베이나 알리 가수레 룽아 니주 도미야 토네다 추림디 개침부 저기 요리스 다 디네 직비게 내주 십차를 침비나 아니 셈기다 룽아 군주기 비게 당진도 소디 가르토네 연구를 셈 마두바단 셈 마시와 셈 하장 rakpa 직 임베 토네 아니 다 룽아리아 이펙트 무슨에 중디 겜베 아니 직 루고네 직 두자줘야 나이 가서 나이 거네 sikzup chamanga ke luju ko ne soju majine ani mesang choba tinte yongde ta ne su yong yo res chesa ti indu thoman lunga kunju to me che ta di shiza de zo de kar sem gi thon yong yu tu zane nani sem gi thon da chenshi gi sem bachi chenshi gi sem be thon ne ani jik pige kaso ore da yong la da pige chungwa ina ani rimbe ani dingen jing ol do tu ya chi 그게 로와 띵엔 진지 여베 이네 디에지 코피게 내자 잠다 다 거야 오지도 용거를 때래 이네 고치 그게 가서 오래 싫어고 저다 제베지 마좀이나 아니 지그게 야고지 누가 공도 패야다 누가 지그게 가서 effectives 그거 왔다 가서 오래 그게 좀제 지그게 차상을 퇴야라 딱 하고 싶다 저기 어르신은 뒤인도 싫어고 좋아다 제가지 딘데 중앙이나 아니 딘데 지가서 오래 오늘 팬도 계신 분이 어르신 것도
And so thinking in this way, then it's apparent that we need the practice of morality or ethical discipline in terms of avoiding unskillful actions, unskillful, harmful actions. What we need is to make our mind more peaceful and subdued. When it's not peaceful and subdued, when it's at a kind of coarse or gross level, then the mind being like that, we do unskillful actions like killing and stealing, lying and so forth, speaking unpleasant to people. And so we need to stop that. And mindfulness and vigilance are very important for being able to do that. Then gradually we can cultivate concentration. So if you cultivate and develop your concentration, then that helps you to your mind to become very firm and settled on whatever object you might choose to settle it on. But if you don't have the wisdom, if that concentration is not accompanied by wisdom, then it's just by itself, it's not that effective. It's not really effective in being able to, fully achieve one's potential. It's not really possible to fully achieve one's potential if you don't have that kind of combination.
제산티 인도 전에 직비게 가쇼르 라바숨기 들와 라바숨기 냠네 직비게 수dim들와 가쇼르다 라바 수dim기 라바 띵엔징기 라바 아니 시럽기 라바 세닝안주 송대야티 아니 직비게 가쇼르 최저 계지점 마인베 마란주 지당이 미메지 기우게야다 메지 상부 다가는 신기 메지 된다데바 들와 최 매베지 실리샤바 토니니 디 녀버도 미 메지나야 녀워코치 다디 인지미지 고야게 아니 내주차디도 저기 어렸어.
So here we're talking about the three higher trainings, higher training in morality, concentration, and wisdom. And these are not just something we need if you're going to practice Dharma, follow some kind of a spiritual training. We need them in general in our lives in order to have to be a good human, to have a good life, and to have a meaningful life. They're really extremely important to be able to lead one's life in that way.
제가 어떤 딘데지기 톤에 아니 지그게 만주 메지디 게토베이나 아니 오늘 직피게 가서 그래 매제 다 직피게 가서 그래 왔다 단다 라바숭기 냠랭기 좀 봐줘 봐 냠바 라바숭기 냠랭기 좀 받디 최고 돈에 셰드 셰거 어들에 최케 말랑긴기 미지이네 그 매지 상고 겐도 요리 매지 상고 게 도단 요리 겐도 요번에 신 도단 요리 제잔티 인도 전에 매지 상고 게 들이야 아니 직피게 친구부 야게탕 친구부 직피게 되베 연대 지골 때니 게 두고 매버티다 드린 게 생각한주 직피게 오연이 주고 돈에 라초투고 요리 디 라초투버티 가서 용단데 가르스는 쉬비나 아니 친구부 야게 하장 차롱보 친구부 야게 피게 탈침부 용이 계급나리야 미든줄이야 셈바 끼버당 셈바 직피게 밥해버지 용구 여러베스는 디 용투고 요마리 디 용 하도베 마제 단도 친구부 야게 차롱보 요새 산에 든줄 밀 강에 채워 셈을 강에 채워 셈 강에 채워 겜베 룰을 나자마 룰을 나자마에 겜베 아니 직피게 나자 녜메 고마 뉴야게 나자 사바든데 양 직피게 용제 된데 있는 줄 뭔지다 용되게 도왔어 지난 뒤 인도산에 친구부 야게 뛰기 강에 세야기 림보 뭔지 여도 여를 때래 이내 뛰고 직피게 테세 강에 세 투야지 당 강에 차창원지 당 강에 그게 용조 세트에 매버되다 오연이 주고도네 라 주투고 여버디 아니 중국의 야게 새로운 유비 계급된 주나리아 샘강에 단도 친구의 야게 용어 있을 때 줄에 강에 채용되게 도왔어. 딤 제가 염하도야기 가르레스나 아니 샘기 강 트레이닝 대당 림바디 아니 새로운지 매버지 당 아니 델리아 직비게 당도스네도 델리아 직비게 가서 오르다 개체 뭐만지 비치러 능주 당니 디 겜베다 강에도 제투고 여버티 제기 여버티다 뭐이니 주토네 라추투부레스 라추투부두스
if we lead our lives in that in terms of the three higher trainings, then well, of course, according to the like the Dharma teachings, Buddhist teachings, for example, we do need those three higher trainings, high training in morality, concentration, and wisdom. But even if somebody doesn't accept any kind of religion, they still want a good life. Everybody wants to have a good life. Everybody has a right to a good life. And we can see these days, I think we understand that if you only, if you consider that the main source of happiness and a good life is external development, technological development, and so forth, then we can see that that's not enough to guarantee a good life, meaningful life. Because if that were the case, it should be that if you look at the countries that are more advanced in terms of their technological achievements, then you should find that there are less problems. But in fact, it's not only the case that if you look at those countries, they don't have less problems. A lot of the time they actually have more problems in the mind. Because of the problems in the mind, then health, physical problems, even to the point where we have illnesses developing which have never even been heard of before. So by relying upon external objects and technological advances, of course they do help, but only in a very limited way. To really bring about improvements which are much more far-reaching and deeper, just depending upon that kind of technological advance and external objects, it's not possible. Because without trying to develop these inner qualities, then it's not just that the problems, our problems get less; they can even get more. And so this all comes because of not having realized that what we really need to do what will really guarantee a good life and really does lead to a diminishing of our, the problems we have in our lives is by developing these inner qualities of the mind.
제자한테 인도자네 다 강에 즉 샘기 강에 dunsu sangwa mangguji se tuwaya te wata tangi shubha na shing ta laba sumgi nyamlengi laba sumgi ta chikpige jolam sine minto ta nyamlendi tohne yongtukur sangbu tus ta yang sho chine tebi na zambulingi ya kange mangguji yongdeya ti ta chamze pongchene rwa chamba tang tsawa tang nyingji seya ti ngaranzu chikpige kene che ngaranzu ti tene swadeba chitang 이 거진을 때는 안주 단다 안주 지피게 매제 기부지다 상부 가리 여버텔이 가리 돈에 용디 거르스나 밤에 잠제 기경기 잠제 다는 신 조부 종묘 잠제 아니 예고르기 구유기 잠제 이제 멍고질 때는 안주 소디기 여르텔이 안주 디니주 마도버체 아니 지피게 디 gembe 아니 지 잠받던 저와 세대 진단 파 제체니 잠제 퐁체니 아니 강에 멍고지 디돈에 체디도스
And so, in that way, yes, we can dispel so many problems in our minds by developing these three higher trainings, by practicing them, by making them part of our lives. In another way of looking at it is that so many problems in our world come because of a lack of loving kindness and affection towards others. Now, if we think about it, everything that we have, everything that's good in our lives, everything, our very lives and so forth, all comes due to the kindness that, the loving kindness and affection that have been shown us by our parents, by our teachers, by friends, and by the people around us.
제잔티 인도자네 마란주 디니주 마도버 겜베 아니 직비게 가시오 점불링기다 가시오 니주 몽구지 다피게 잠즈세야들이야 린다 머지비 인도자네 직비게 셴기 디두들이 개천 붙이는 머지비체 아니 디 겜베다 직비게 가시오르다 가시오레 구유리야 아니 제제마이야 다가는 신기지 가시오레 다 이게 사용 다디 구유리 제대 맞제베 겜베다 아니 지 사용다 다가는 신 줄로다 아니 지금 매견다 아니 지금 이게 어다 둔 상황 용대야티 가리토네 시자디 가리토를 용도서는 잠재 봉제로 잠재 봉제니 아니 다디 겜베다 니주둔 상황 용대야지 당 디 겜베 소 현장 마인베 소소양 강에드나야 수주고요레스 지단디 인도자네 잠지 린단텔이야 나한주 린단 땅 뉴버 공도로 땅 거야디 시라 개심차디도스
Not understanding the priceless nature of loving kindness and affection towards others, we neglect, we don't really take into account the happiness of others and the suffering of others. We show disregard for the environment, then because of that, there are all sorts of catastrophes and so forth happening in the environment in terms of floods and flash fires and earthquake and so on, which causes so many problems and so much suffering in our lives. So it's really important to change this by recognizing just how important these qualities of loving kindness and affection towards others are.
세잔티 인도자네 정불린디나 용대야기 따직비게 미수 차조 다나싱 직비게 크라임 그리 다나싱 직비게 다 니주다 르와 직비게 먹주 상물로디 잠제 봉제네 잠지 린담 아니 비치다 디 gem베다 용디기 유두자네 장지 본도를 땅 거야 디 만주 직비게 시라케 좀 시작되게 두스 최저 돈의 셰베이나다 직비게 만주 최케 랭엔데 많이 말링에 상매 돈의 잠질이야 린담 지고디 땅우니 지고 돈에 라 추토에 지차게 두스 최케란다 말레세데 수수랑와데 다는 신기 최저 나는 따주 담만데 연구요래 나 삼로 단단다 지게 따주 남샤 나조지 연구요래들 잠바단 자와세데 수지기 딜이야 원래메스 랍투야지 자원인 연구요 말레스 줄루 만다와 파샤니 가서래 최명의 미지네 잠바단 자와세데 리젝트 수지기 채토고 말레스
There's so much violence in the world, so much crime, war and turmoil. And all of this is because of a lack of loving kindness and affection for others, disregard for others. And so really it's important to find out about these qualities and develop these qualities of loving kindness and compassion. And whether you accept religion or not, whether you do or not is up to you, but whether you do or you don't, you can see just how vital and how important it is to cultivate these qualities of loving kindness and compassion. Likewise, we all have different religions and different philosophical systems. They have their different ideas about the nature of the world, but still all of us, I think, can see how important loving kindness and affection for others are. There's nobody that could reject them, that could say that these are not important qualities and values.
어쨌든 제단 티 인도잖아요. 아니 가서 그래. 다 잠시 봉천을 봐. 제단 잠시 봉천다 점불인 강에 최대한테 상말로 디 연구 유도잖아요. 아니 잠질이 양안 주신다 용투야리야. 만 상매 배 슉도 마순 자고에 배 개심 차고도스. 제단 잠지 생애디 새롱마지다 잠지 비게 가서 그래다 비게 야구지 중투에 있는 점불린데나 강에 할람 비지 매베 차투그레스 젠 나비네 납투야레스 차요레스.
And so a lack of loving kindness towards others and affection for others is the source of so many problems in our world. For this reason, it's really important for us to try to develop these qualities. And I think, especially when you think in terms of genuine loving kindness and affection for others, if we had that in our world, I think you could say that all the problems in our world would be solved.
어쨌든 이 인도전에 다 디토리아 참물로 당되는 투베이나 아니 당기슈베나 신기 라바숨기 냠랭기 바티 야고치 용토버체 디토네 아니 잠지 아니 지피게 가수를 랍자티 렌토베이나 아니 잠불린디나리아 디기 마야기 아니 디기 용하도야 디기 셀롱마지다 디기 차창원지 용 마도야기 금제 자원이네 매대버지 당 아니 가슈그레 다 디톤의 중앙에는 아니 담불린 강에 차상 세트지 할람 땡케버 시에도도스.
And so if we're able to cultivate these qualities of the three higher trainings of morality, concentration and wisdom, then on top of that, if we're able to also cultivate these qualities of loving kindness and affection towards others, then there is no reason why we wouldn't be able to achieve real, genuine happiness in our world. And I think we can guarantee that there will be no more problems in the world.
다 디르와 전다 디르베 디 다리 게시에 전다 디르와 디지 well-being and happiness 디르베 와 제단디 인도 well-being 다 아니 happiness에 well-being 선다 디지 돈 데트에서 거봐 리베 전다 가래 리와 well-being 다 아니 happiness 때 다가랑 돈에 루트야디 대좀 매버스리샤스.
So that's the title of the talk, right? So what was it again?
Finding well-being
and
happiness.
Oh. Yes, so I think that's how you would do it, by adopting these qualities, practicing these, integrating those into your life. Then you would achieve that state which is mentioned in the title for the talk.
아니 당연히 신발 개슈에민도 아니 그냥 상물로 다들 다 가슈래 비게 patiently 봐 이녀다 가슈래 게지들이야 센제 아니 슈브디 시작하고 중 두치스 아니 그냥 도움하죠 그러면 돈 지원되는 전지도 봐.
That's really all I have to say. I want to thank you for sitting patiently, listening to me talking, and perhaps if there are any questions that you might have that I might be able to clear up for you, then please go ahead and ask. There's some back there.
인상기 politics에 여러 하라고 했지. 맞춤부터 뭔부 용도스. 집 봐줬어 됐지.
세부스로지스.
Could you maybe make your question a bit clearer?
No.
Not really. Got the power switch.
Is it on now?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Today's political climate in the United States is very divisive. And I find it very difficult to get by day and deal with what is going on in this country. And I'm asking, what are your suggestions to get by this difficult period?
Divisive meaning?
Divisive. There's a lot of animosity in the political climate in the United States right now, between the political parties, between the president and those who are against what the president is doing, and it's a difficult time to be a citizen here, observing this friction, this battle, this combat, this war of worlds.
And so how to deal?
How can he deal with it?
How can he deal? That is, 지당 망주의 계급 생활되나를 그 랑신기 섬주니유의 랑신기 당분의 시스템 거르는 소셔요레스. right? I think in a democracy country, the whole system, it is, I think,
having two sides is actually part of the system. It's an inherent part of a democratic system.
Two ideas, right? And both ideas have the platform to express their own views and their own, how should I say, their own political views, right? So I think this is how the whole system is being built from the beginning. And after all, how the country is running is based on the system. So if the system allows this condition, then I think it is important that the public should accept what is the present situation. So I think if one thinks deeper level, then I think that, but maybe on the surface, it may be difficult. I could understand that. But I think in a deeper level, if you think like that, then maybe also one is not happy with the system. So I think this is a very challenging sort of situation. But I think this is how things are, right? And then if you think from another point of view, after all, there's no one who has no faults, right? I think everyone means well. Everyone wants to do good. Everyone means well. So I think everyone has a mistake. Everyone makes a mistake. So I think it is also important to see from the positive side of that person's qualities, or not always looking through from the negative side. If one watches from the negative side all the time, then it totally becomes like black. Whatever he or she does or walks or breathes, each and every activity becomes, sort of mistake, right? So maybe so I think then our mind is totally unbiased.
Completely biased.
Completely biased. So it is important that we should be biased.
Unbiased. We should be unbiased.
We should be unbiased and look from the positive side. And there's everyone makes mistakes and everyone has faults, but everyone also has their own unique qualities. So I think it is very important. That's my view. I don't know. Yeah.
Not to just put it in a political context, but if we observe people through their own bad actions hurting others or hurting our family or hurting us, sometimes to just cultivate kindness and inner peace seems to be cowardly in that we're avoiding taking strong action to either protect those we love or the society at large or even ourselves. So when to know when just cultivating forgiveness is not real forgiveness but fear, and when our action should be very, very strong in stopping the negative activity of others.
That's good.
Because the penat like a tuja tonga. Tone and also the so the she did some that and the certain charity. Chena and one chicken Shenangi Tony the Dongle Machibi, Ninga Yorwa, Bena cowardly logo maybe kitare. One is a logo to the chick Dongle Chivas, chick Gauras, like a tuja chinging in the Juna the Gauras.
Lega tuja chinging in the Gaurua, did I catch him Bisharawa? Lega tuja chinging in a Gaurte, Lega tuja chinging midly and Anzu. Lega tuja chibi Jumzen to Chenny, call a Magawa chair, the whole never chanted to go maris. Lega tuja chel cow maris near our in sigmes. So sense it is an lega tuja chingeti in a cheju ni dilkai, goyo maris, this go maris. So sense ati, Colia, Magawata, Colia, Chickpige, Chedan, Mandibut Tilly, young Anzu, Hagwa to Tando, Chickpige, Nundugi Kembe, Tamate Korang Gangetana, Sugu Yubati, Manzo Hakobe Tone. Carlier sympathize,
If somebody is doing something wrong, when you see injustice, then you should do something about it. That's for sure. What I'm saying is that when you see somebody is doing something wrong, then you shouldn't take that as a reason for disliking the person. Rather, you need to understand where they're coming from and feel some sympathy with them for, by thinking about what it is that makes them do what they're doing. But I would never say that when somebody's doing something wrong, that you should just, that practicing patience just means letting anybody do what they like. I wouldn't say that practicing patience means that. If you see, if something is being done wrong, then if there is injustice, then we should do something about it.
Venerable chen 기업기 신진 다 답변보다 진짜 내가 눈주 치기요나 야고 지금에는 안주 오구체 깨껴 가야지 안주 랭게레스 디고 시스템 allow 제셔요 봐 이네 미디 야고 지금에보다 눈주 치기요나 콜로 마가와 쳐야도 콜로 베티 지 가서래 샘 딩네 마가와 쳐야죠 봐 디치교 말을 쓰고 얼마도 지기 코 내가 눈주 지기는 코 가야다 콜이야 오고 쳐야다 디안주 왕주기 득주 톱당으로 왔어 디치고 말을 쓰고 말했어.
Like, for example, when the president or the prime minister, whoever it is in a particular country, when they do something wrong, then we should protest about it. We should try to stop them from doing that. Just because of what they're doing, just because of the wrong they're doing, that doesn't mean to say that we should dislike them, especially feeling a real deep sense of dislike and hatred towards them for what they're doing. But when they make a mistake, it's our responsibility to protest and to stop them from doing what they do. That's what we should do in a democracy, isn't it?
학과도야 이제 눈주층의 미드레이는 마가와 제파시한 단도 콜레 자와당 잠지 퐁진 그 눈주디게 상호치기 어렸어 단도 콜레야 학과 자와 쳐친 안주 love compassion 단도 망아 구구 어렸어.
And actually, in particular, with those people who are perpetuating injustice, those people who in the world who are doing wrong, not only should we not take that as a reason for disliking the person, rather recognizing that they themselves are lacking in affection and loving kindness towards others, we should feel even more compassion towards such people, stronger compassion towards such people. There's one right back at the back as well.
When I was a young man, you ready?
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I did many bad things as a young man. As an older man, it's hard to come to terms with that. I have difficulty coming to terms with things I did when I was a young man. Bad things.
로춘중이 두간을 듣는 좀 못치선 두자만부 제비 스텝들을 직성장다라 직로 다운민도스
디카데스 로춘중간 두자 제브레스 아니
텔레성단나 아니 직sem마키오당단디 로다부르시아민도스
아네
가르쳐 그랬어
다 로춘중간 눈주층에 캬지고 말이 미망고 요레스 초진의 삼단은 미강게 제 요레스 눈주 그러와 디 지고 인도 소스 지고 left over the 책 말했어 봐. 네, 미강게 제요레스. 다 이네 조디 가르레스는 마음반 눈주 마체 왜 백해 좀 쳐고요레스. 뭐마 야고 마체 take 봐. Everyone did mistake when they're young. I would say no one in this room has not done wrong when they are young. But now take that occasion as a khasor
to learn from it
and not to engage into such activities in the future. More important is the present. Past is past. It's happened already. There's nothing to do about it. If Buddhist point of view, there are certain sort of kasota, practices that one can kasota.
There are certain practices we can do in order to purify.
There are certain practices that can purify those negative actions. But if we are speaking from a non-religion person, also take that occasion as a lesson and not to engage in the near future, and also to spread the word to those who are young generations from your own experience, so that they will not, they will not commit.
They won't make the same mistake.
They will not make the same mistake again. They will not make the mistake. Yeah. So I think like that. Yeah. That gentleman, that person. Yeah.
Now, you talk about the importance of helping others and being altruistic. What I often struggle with, I find, is that sometimes I put others before myself, and as a result of that, I don't focus well enough on my well-being. So how is it that you find the balance between focusing on yourself and at the same time helping others and doing what you can, in service?
I think this is a deeper level of practice when you say others first, but at least treat others as like you at the time being, also when you say helping others or treating others better, doesn't mean that you should neglect yourself or you should neglect your welfare. Of course, we have to do the best for our own welfare, but at the same time treat the others as like you treat yourself. That is good enough.
So that's clear?
Clear?
So I, as a human being, I try to cultivate gratitude for what I have, but I find there's a lot of messages through different kinds of media and platforms that are telling me that I need to have something more other, that there might be, that I'm not quite good enough, that there's these images of perfection that we're given a lot that inside of me make me want more. So how do you suggest we interact with medias, television, all? Does this make sense? Do you understand? I don't want to.
Television dandu tadu, internet dandu tadu, that dandu tile yao kokitus tile zia tile the manga tindi kokitus shivishil labgidwa. Jisang tele karishigore.
Matan tigro.
La.
Madeshan tigro.
Maybe you should just not watch.
That's what he said. Thank you.
Yeah, men yung tane tigro.
Or at least maybe watch a little bit less.
Okay. Thank you.
How do I pose this question? There is suffering in the world, and with media one can know that right now in the world there are children starving to death, and there's people really suffering. And how does, there's a way that what happens, you can say, well, that's there and I'm here. And there's a sort of turning off to it. And then there's another way of deeply feeling sorrow. But usually to stay with that, one tends to pull away. Or to genuinely feel the suffering in great depth and know that in some ways you can't do anything about it.
You didn't actually ask the question yet, did you?
Well, it's how to how to cultivate this deep compassion to not cut yourself off, that I'm helpless to deal with the suffering that I'm aware of.
제단의 tinsangi 미디어기 돈에 애니데 다른 부기기네 술 쉐어요라 다디 다른 보레 제민도스 삼네 애니데 직닌지다고 직 마케나양 디기민도아 다 제선 뎁텔미네 애니데 닌지 뉴규리케 칸디스티오레스 소주귤레데 닌지 텔미그베 닌지 칸디스티오레스
다른 부레스 닌지 게투민도스
서울하고지는 상수하고지 레기도서.
네, 따딜레야드 저도 소설도 소수 요새 산에죠, 봐. 소수 강배 네버들 범슈는 소소시기서 봐. 따디 가인스는 자와자와디 아니 생기 동에들 라리아 라리기 매베기 소소 생기 거딘 되는 초기 여버디 삼로 야고치 코메버당 생기 디두디 소소 라리기 매베기 삼버디 딩들이야, 봐. subtle level dinde jibe kembe an so le tu go mares 제산 띠인디 이네 당기 쉬는 신, 네 당기 쉬는 신 소수 단다 only reason 단다 대 초대야 돼 셴기 거든 시질 된 라렌 초대 버지레스 로와 소수 셴면은 소수 초투야 그래요 마레스 로와 어쨌든 띠인디 든준 내주도 야고 셴버 아주 야네 양도 템버던 소수 피게 삼 코투 투나 디랑싱 초알레 투그레스 베나 소수 빈자 소수 베 지우제와 첨부치세 미지 다른도 가와연에 콜강에테나 소와케 투구도 왔어 로아 코디 강베티데유는 소수 자와유스들 강에테나 아니 자와케 투베지다 콜롱고 다른거 질렘나 렘데데유나 양콜이야 자와 충드레 용민도 왔어 디능시도 왔어 그래서 저 투사디 소소 미들이야 심굴 레 투메베다 데스 심굴 렘 하도에 가르레스는 소소 디두디 콜이야 라리기 요버티 소소 셈딩네 네버 장토요 말스
I think that where this maybe difficulty that one might have in feeling compassion for the suffering of others which is taking place a long way away is because of not really understanding the on a deep on a subtle level actually the way in which we are all we depend upon the all others for our happiness. In other words, it's not like they're far away, therefore we're not related to them, when we're not involved with them at all. Actually, if you look deeply, you can see that as I was mentioning before, our happiness depends upon others. Our happiness and our well-being depends upon all other living beings. And so just like somebody that is close to you, whether it's a family member or a friend or whatever, if they're near to you and they're experiencing problems, you really feel for that. If they're a long way away and they're experiencing problems, you still feel that concern for them. So those people who are experiencing a great deal of suffering in far distant lands, if we think about how interrelated we all are, then we would be able to feel that compassion towards them, no matter how, no matter where they are, and no matter how far away they are. Is that clear?
It's how to hold it, like whether it's over the years, there's a feeling for the Tibet and the Tibetan people, and I'm really moved by it. But there's some things one can do, but there's to keep one's heart or being open to constantly feel that connection to everyone now,
How to feel that kind of feeling, compassion Constantly, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, one goes, well, the attitude of compassion, it's deep, this deeper thing than that infuses your whole being. But I guess it's just to practice.
Actually, that was one thing that I missed off, which Rinpoche was saying. If you repeatedly, constantly reflect on these things, then you will feel like a deep sense of compassion towards all beings. But I can anyway.
German Kali 장고로 로장 림베 아니 좀 많이 받지. 이제 German 대 개첨부레스. German 대 German 많이 받차에 고주고요 봐. 아주 German 대 능주 당해요 말레스. German 대 림베 장전에 아니 German 많이 받차도 뭐도. 토만이네 German 많이 받게 돼요 말레스.
So what you're talking about is what we usually call like genuine or uncontrived compassion, one which is pretty well there all the time without having to make yourself think about it in order to have it arise in the mind. This is something that doesn't come immediately. It's something that comes from constant, repeated application of your mind to that over a long period of time. So the thing is that there was something else. So even though like the main one is this genuine, uncontrived the compassion, what we might call the contrived one, where you have to like think about it and apply yourself in order to make it come up in the mind. This plays a vital role. It's extremely important because that's the basis that you're developing into the uncontrived and genuine, really heartfelt compassion.
Hi. To piggyback on this gentleman's question, my question is how not to get overwhelmed by all the homeless people living on the side of the street, the million people that don't have a place to live in India because of the flood, earthquakes, how not to internalize the feelings of so much happening in the world. How not to get depressed, how not to get overwhelmed with all this feeling for others who are ourselves.
제산데 잠불링기데 동해도 삼다나 배다 갸갈라양 직강에 쉬셔라 대상 아니 디발라양데 카마맹이도 홈리스턴도 강에 못 비어라 델로 삼다나 네 좀 교보용해야 돼 디프레스에디어라 디 마양을 가르치고 그랬어
알레
인지도 귤게 걸어와 인질 삼당 걸어라
네네
대인이데 델로 삼다나데 셈마키와 담 마가와딘데 용 용하딘데 여러 딱 지투구민도 간지기도 투민도 스토브 삼네
다티다 고 셴바든주 직피게 강에다 직피게 가쇼르뇨 딱 강에지나 체데브죠 여러분 딜 시라 탑교보다레 리네 디 캠베 소소 마지비 차니 대대베 펜도케요 말와 파종어 디 강에를 세토에 개치슈도 봐 지선 소소 마지비 차는 코 강에 책이 요 맛이 디 캠베 소소의 강에 지차인 거래 딜 니가로 강에 체니 펜도케 중마서 왔어 뒤에 파체 단도의 심바 가서 소소셈 교부체 뒤야 된다매베 소소셈 shum바게 아니 주지로 봤어 조디 셴디 강에들 세투가 체알이야 만주 답시 치고 거랬어 답시 치는 미래에 잘치니 콜 돌로제 칼라테 근데 제투에 가보러 왔어 딱 한데스 용토르스나 만주 지용 미셰제 얘기했다야 지용 미 디둘이야 만주 심구르랑 디 캠베 아니 레구 잠이야 밀리 펜도 체야기 레구 잠들이 제투나 아니 야우용 거랬어
when you when you think about their their problems. It's very, it's very sad, it's very pitiful. But when you think about those problems and it makes you feel unhappy, makes you feel depressed, then one thing that's important is to recognize that actually that doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help you, and it doesn't help them. Actually, in your own case, you might lose courage, and that's totally counterproductive, isn't it? What's important is putting an end to the suffering of others. And it would be difficult, of course, to go like around to each person one by one and give them the clothes they need or give them the food they need and so forth. That would be difficult, but still what we can do is cultivate this sort of like general compassion towards all beings, wanting to deliver all or free all sentient beings, all living beings from their suffering.
I was wondering, is prayer involved at all?
Prayer?
Prayer.
Prayer.
Molam jamna de tigro ya kurwa. Molam janda ya kurte. Molam tigi molam jabat le ngushi chawala jungna the effective che yoris. Rwa. Pena ngaranzu lungba namshi changmu jille kya na thulo blanket khona effective che dwa. Ti haja basho molam jamni namsam haja ba cha thuye che ti that's khabur was. The molam jayati the yubeche ti thole yang ananzu action di kechigres.
It's good to make prayers, but actually doing something I think is more effective. Just like if you find yourself in a cold place, then it's more effective to actually put on a blanket than simply make prayers for it, isn't it? So prayers are important, but actually doing something is more important and more effective.
Wisdom the yuebro.
We don't need to pray for wisdom. The wisdom is already there.
What role does self-cherishing have in anger?
So I don't know if everybody heard the question. The question was, what role does self-cherishing play in anger? So the answer is that it's because of our self-cherishing that we get angry.
I think there's a lot of suffering in our Western cultures, specifically related to stress, daily stress, from our jobs, from our relationships, from the environment, from the types of things happening globally that we all know about. And I don't really know a single person in my life who doesn't suffer from stress, and I think it results in a lot of physical ailments and health issues. So I was wondering if you could talk about the relationship between mindfulness and daily stressors and personal health.
Stress mengen suji mindus.
Suji mindus.
Ani
da di kasa da di nyembo da uchila. Ani da chambadan shishin dunzo. Pingi yorabes. Kandes bijudan gores. Chambadan shishin de kejem bore sombra. The dunzule dene ani the stress this new dan.
Stress yuan kor karesina. Tenshik maden zang res. Chiru yule yawan cheta be kembe. Loa. Chiru yule yawan cheta be kembe distraction mangul. Because of distraction, stress. So mindful yuna ani distraction yung res. mindful did some hotel derwa nang hotel derwa the in distraction yung yoris tin yung stress yung rang sing legres ine ta stress yung the so chigo so chi kuryu ta ne dang da monggu chi ra da le go ba so chigo re de ine kan da sem gi so be kang ti ten de chiru gi yeme kembe ten de yung yoris 제가 디인자 고 마인드풀 제베이나 스트레스랑 신가투에디 저기도 저기 어렸어.
In fact, I think that the stress occurs because of not having the mindfulness. So the thing is that when you're mindful, then the mind is brought inwards. It's not distracted outwards. So the stress comes because of the mind being distracted outwards to what's going on, external to ourselves. So if we cultivate mindfulness, that in itself will reduce the amount of stress that we feel. The external factors, they do play a role, but the main thing is that problems in the mind come from the mind. They're created by the mind. Was that clear? I can't remember who was asking, but anyway, was the answer clear? Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Is this on? Thank you, Rinpoche, for this address. So now I don't have to go to India. So, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I believe, recites the Prajnaparamita Sutra every day. I'm wondering how you relate meditation on emptiness with dealing with grief.
Understand? Grief, like when somebody's passed away.
Yes.
That kind of grief. Sherab se ati tang toni tang tame duzu samun tane ani de grief se ati de grief se ne de mishi shisona ani de nyangin de dua nyangin the din nyangin de tis the neurodine da meba so ala kan des bingi dos
tati dirisha mishi shini nyange yunguro wa nyange yundu sane nyange yongse gi midil 미디 시버티다 닝제 삼버지다 고구로와 닝지 깨오래 닝지 깨베토네 냥에 제초구로와 레디 나란주디 가르르스네 차과드 셈 차과드 제젠 미디리아 착신 베나 소수 빈자 소수 교가 소수 직 딘제 망부치 그러와 딘제 인도잖아 아니 직비 냥에 지데 연구 여르들이 조 냥에 스파 디치두스 미들려 당 투고요 말에 려 담하도에 가르르스네 착베 겜베 좋아. 소소의 대화명에 미지시도 만주시라 냥에스케 용민도 와. 냥에 많이 때 가르스는 콜리아 차고시라 요마로. 차고 매 되게 가서 그래다. 콜레다 착신 쉬메도잖아 냥에 용고 말았어. 제단다 소소 가서 그래. 냥에 전에 냥에 제단 시험 보고 그랬어. 좋아. 제단 다 차단 그 자오자오데 단지 말해 버렸어. 제단 남의 생애들 로가 초토브 주나 내주 야고 주네리 내주 두자 주네리 샘플 그게 가서 그래 직다다지 간로 토야지 좋아 당진 슉 잡고 유두잖아 나한테 당진 슉 잡고 유두 아니 탑 내주 교부 유두 샘 교부 쉬우요 아니 직배티 익제르지 야고 안기 야고는 아 당하는 신 직피기도와 내가 야고르지는 쉬우 가부 요야시도 디 가르데스는 차당 gembe 차단 조드 단진 라리고르스 제단 시럽 닝부 된다티 돈이 된다 시고리 돈이 된다티 단진 봉야 된다리 던진 뽕투는 아니 차단 비게 숙충 땅 두그래 차단 숙충 땅 양의 숙충도 두그랬어.
The grief that we feel for, that we feel when somebody has passed away, whether it's a relative, maybe our partner, friend, or whoever it might be. Well, of course, we need to feel compassion for the person that's passed away. But now, the grief that we feel, it's mixed with attachment, a kind of like grasping,
not letting go of that individual, right?
Which means which makes us incapable of letting go of the person. So if we were able to let go of the person, then we wouldn't feel that grief. So it comes from that from the attachment, and we can see this because if it's somebody that we don't feel attachment towards, then we don't feel the grief when they pass away. It's the person that we like hold on to and grasp hold of that we feel that kind of grief. So the attachment comes from self-grasping. More strong our grasping at a self is, the stronger our attachment is going to be. And so we can see this, how when things are going very, very badly, like with the exams and so on, then it makes us feel very unhappy. If things go well, then we feel extremely happy about that. So this is, comes from a strong grasping at a self. So the meaning of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra is emptiness. That's what it explains. So by understanding the emptiness that's explained in the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, then we will be able to overcome our grasping at a self. That the wisdom that we will gain through that, through studying that, learning it, will counteract the grasping at a self. Without the grasping at a self, then the other destructive emotions, such as attachment, grasping attachment, that would also disappear, and then there will be we won't have that feeling of grief. So that's how it is that the understanding of emptiness helps us to deal with grief. So this will be the last question.
Okay, thank you for coming. Tibetan Buddhism has really helped me over the years. I've learned that every decision I make is based on, will this might benefit the most human sentient beings if I do this? And so coming here today, I felt benefited a whole bunch of sentient beings much, much more than me staying home and watching TV. I was wondering, do you see anything in the future? Can you see 5 years, 10 years of what's coming up? How can we act to benefit the most sentient beings? And where are we heading?
Pela bombola pela the tanda karachures. La Simjim mambola pegi pela Pembechedu mambola pembechedu and a tanda karachures. Tanda karachures and a more the long down low tree jela the thing as a kawalegi
long at Jujel can the cherry that Ngalia, when a jere medusane, des cabutus. Mushi Omarwa. Santa, longa jujel can the cherry meti, Nishaka to a house that is, Molum Jares study. Taine, Maranzu and a carriage to but the Chagu wars. Maranzu Gejish Chickpig express Chigurbata, Manguch. In a gange the sale, Tablam and Manche Shugu Omaris. We don't take action to solve the problem, any problem. we keep talking about it. Right? 진짜 ngaranzu capacity, ngaranzu 지 겨봐 소소 제투비야 점불링 강에세 이네 소소 강에세 이네 미션배 강에세 이네 강투도 이 ngaranzu 액션턴에 제투버 제거에 돼 백해침부레스. right? 아니 result이야 attach 주체는 줘요 말이스. result 중에 야고래 마주네 아니 제게요 말이스. 소소 뇌네 다 비기 숙점네 제거에 백해침부레스.
So as for how things are going to be 5 years or 10 years from now, I don't have any sort of abilities of foresight, clairvoyance to be able to see what's going to go on, going to happen in the future. So it's just a matter of making prayers, I guess, for things to be good, 5, 10 years from now, whatever. As for what we can do now, well, what we should do now to benefit the most sentient beings is whatever it is that we can, doing what we can. That's the main thing. So where we're lacking is we don't act. We talk about what could be done and what we can do, but we don't actually act on it. If we act on it according to our capacity, whether it's for oneself, whether it's for others, whether it's for the world, doing whatever we can according to our capacity, that's what's important. Actually doing something is important. And also without being attached to the results. So the main thing is we do what we can, and how things turn out as a result of that is not the main point. We just do what we can, without being attached to things turning out this way or that way. That's what we should do.
Thank you.